right. So, overall, how do you think the lesson went during your reading paw time?
So I think that the groups went well, but the class is so like hectic, which isn't like your fault, but it's hard to just keep them like, especially since you don't have a para, to keep them from not bugging you the whole time.
Yeah.
For the most part, I think it went well though. Like all of them seemed engaged when they met with you. So we'll accept Dariana, but for the most part, I feel like it went well. Perfect.
So for your independent group that did the Florida Center game for the inferencing, how do you think that went?
I normally don't use games. I never really thought about that. So I think they liked it a lot instead of just doing like, I don't try to give them worksheets, but I try to give them like a writing prompt or, that vocabulary worksheet that you gave me. So I think of like being able to just do a game was a lot better. So I'm going to try to like continue to do that so that way they can stay more engaged and not get bored right away. And it took up the whole time, which was good because sometimes those writing prompts or other things I give them only take like 10 to 15 minutes and then I'll be like, okay, you can free read, but then half the time they're not. So like with the game taking as long as it did, I think that was good.
Yeah, perfect. And it's helpful too when they don't have to have something to do next, just because the transition is kind of hectic.
And also like
sometimes.
for the one for like the making inferences, I never thought of like, I guess like in Treasures they give you like the worksheet and like that story, but you were in there that one day we did and it didn't really like help them. So I think doing something or giving them actual like examples that like they can relate to more, that will help them a lot better.
Yep. And inferencing is kind of hard just in general. So those were they
have like no idea what that means. I don't think.
They were simpler so they could see that they're always making inferences. It's not it's sometimes they make it harder than it really is, so it seems easier when it's in the format of a game. Before I started teaching, or before we did the small groups, I did plan teaching on staying on task, and then I also had a timer in the lesson template, which I shared with you. Do you think that helped the kids stay on task, or student engagement?
I think the timer helps. I normally just use it on my computer because like when I pull it up, it always ends up like logging out and then it's a hassle. But they do like, I think, help with the timer to let them know. Staying on task, they always need to be reminded about that. So like you going over it, which is something I should probably do more of because I don't, you know what I mean? I don't think about it. So I probably should talk about it more. But so like you talking about it with them and then having the timers, I thought helped. So then they can know like, hey, you guys only have this much time left. And they could actually see it.
I kind of just built it up trying to say, it's only 25 minutes. You guys can handle staying in your seat for 25 minutes.
Yeah, I need to do that more with them.
Yeah, and it'll get to the point where you don't have to do it all the time, but just if that's what you said you would have had trouble with, so that was just a suggestion, was
I thought it helped,
using that. Some of those little things you don't even think about can make the biggest difference. During each of your small groups that I taught one the fluency folders and then one the chip kit. And during that, I noticed on your feedback that you had said it was a good idea to give them all the materials and have them do it with you.
Yeah.
So you think that's something you'll try again in the future?
Yeah. Well, normally when it says like an I do, like I think like I'm just supposed to be doing it, but I know that like Mrs. Argo does it where she gives them their stuff too. Yeah. And so at first I was like, oh, I'm just gonna do it, but I feel like when I'm just doing it and they're watching me, they're learning, but they're not as engaged. So then they just watch me do it and then they're not really paying attention. So I think with their own materials in front of them, they are more engaged.
Yeah, and they're keeping them busy too.
Yeah, so if they're not doing anything and they're just sitting there and they don't have to worry about moving chips or anything like that, I don't think they're paying as much attention. So I thought that was a good idea.
Yep, and then the chip kit, like the first day I might do a couple by myself, but just throughout the week I had said that I usually get through each one of those pages a day. So the first day I might do less, I might do more of the talking, have them do more or less of the talking, but then throughout the week especially when they get confident with them, you can let them take on more responsibility. Then the last thing, I said that I sent you the game and I can help you log on to find more. I think I've shown you. I was just saying that in an email that I searched through the activity, the tool, I think it's like a search tool.
You got that from that game was from the Florida Center?
Yep. So the one that we have in the Google Drive is like the actual whole continuum of all of the games and activities, but if you search, you can search by grade level and by skill. So it's really easy if you just match it up with your Treasures skill and strategy for the week if you match those up.
Yeah.
Because some of them are good, some of them aren't. I kind of just look through and pick the ones I think will work during small group time. Some of them are something you might want to do whole group or just with one individual student, but they have lots of good resources on there. And then the last thing, do you have any other questions from the lesson? I had, some of them were on here. I think I've answered most of them.
I'm trying to think.
Do you repeat the story for several days for the fluency folder?
I already kind of talked, and you said, you said that you kind of just do one a day.
Yeah, but I kind of do one of the skills because they go like 8.1,
and there's more,
8.2.
there's more stories
so I usually
for each one.
Do one of those each week, and then just there's several stories for each. So, and like I said, I try and pick the ones that look interesting. I don't try to. Yeah. Some of them aren't very interesting, and some of them have additional passages that aren't so repetitive from the 95%. I feel like some of those are kind of boring sometimes, but some of the skills had extras. Were there any other questions?
So you said that those games are on the Google Drive?
Yeah.
Under?
Well, in the Google Drive, they would have been shared by Rachel, and that would be, so it would
look at it.
Initially be shared with me if she shared it. She might not have. I think that they're kind of hard. Florida. Here. So if she hasn't sent it to you, so that you can see this is like phonemic awareness, fluency, phonological awareness. So these are kind of a little out of order. 4 through 5, advanced, I think it's advanced phonics and fluency, vocab, and K1 fluency. So if you open these, like if you open this 4th and 5th grade one, then it's the introduction, the fluency, and the advanced. So it has all of these. So it starts with like, let's see. So it'll have homophone bingo, domino duo, sound choice, double time. So it'll have all of these for variant correspondences, then syllable patterns, morpheme structures. So this is something that you might find more useful looking at in the format of all 4th and 5th since you teach 5th grade. Otherwise, if some of your students might be performing lower than 4th or 5th grade, so if you go to the actual website and then go for educators, and then right here it says student center activities. If you click here, these are the books that we have in the Google Drive that she's downloaded and put in there for us. But right here, it's kind of hard to see. I always would forget about it, but it says student center activities and instructional routine search tool. So if you click there, then I clicked on.
You kind of showed me this.
Yep, comprehension is where I clicked first, and then I found 5th grade. And then I just checked all of these because I can't remember which specific one inferencing is in, but there's a lot of, I mean, if you just check them all, there's not that many to search through that. I think there's only 2 pages. So I found, it might have been on the next page. More incredible inferences. So then there's even more on inferencing, inference innovations. That might be all of them that I can tell just by reading the title.
Yeah, no, I'll look at it,
Yeah, and then if you notice over here, it kind of gives you the file type. So all these PDF files are going to be like I sent you. So once you open it, it has the instructions for the game. It has all the materials you'll need.
Perfect.
A lot of them, they do take a little bit of time making sure that you have everything cut out and all the pieces ready. But if you're using it as a review, as long as you're monitoring their mastery and making sure that they're actually being successful with the game, since you don't have a para, it's a lot of them you could use more than one day. So I mean that inferencing one, since we did that Friday, you could do it again today if you wanted. Yeah, that's what I
planned on doing.
Just because the more they do it, then it's just more practice, repeat practice on skills that they're still trying to master or already have mastered. They might need practice with. So, and then there's no examples of these other ones, but sometimes you'll find videos. They'll have teachers using the activity so you can see how they used it. And then the other 2 I have never. Read Write Think is another website that they've imported some resources from. So yeah, I use this one a lot, and they're more engaging than some of the resources that Treasures has. So it's just a way to supplement the curriculum and use as extra. Well, were there any other questions?
Nope, I think that's it.
All right. Well, thank you so much for meeting
welcome.
with me. All right. Turn this off. Hopefully it worked.